Only airworthy Lockheed Hudson anywhere in the world. Had it not been for World War II, or the soon to start World War II, this aircraft may never have existed. Lockheed had been building twin-tail and twin-engine airliners in the United States for a number of years. The small Lockheed 10 and 12, and then the Lockheed 14, the Super Electra. Now that was an airliner. The British and the French went to America before the outbreak of the war because they were looking for aircraft to be manufactured for their military. And the reason for that was, obviously, those manufacturing facilities in Europe would be under the constant threat of German attack. So the British went to Lockheed, and in 3 days they came up with a mock-up of the Lockheed Hudson. The RAF called it the Hudson. You can still see its airliner vintage because as the aircraft flies past, have a look at the side of the fuselage and you can still see the airliner windows in. They were maintained throughout the production of the Hudson. They didn't take them out. You've got a very large turret on the back built by a company called Bolton and Paul in the UK. 2 .303 rifle caliber machine guns. 2 forward firing fixed machine guns just ahead of the cockpit, and another one in a very Heath Robinson-like turret underneath, where you actually use something like a bicycle pedals and a worm drive to wind down the floor, get the gun, put it on the mount, and then fire away underneath. You can see the bomb bay doors open there on that pass. Carry about 1,000 pounds of bombs, so only a light bomber, but very much in use around the world. The Hudson itself was used by the RAAF. We had 247 of these, operated with 12 squadrons in the Pacific and also one squadron, number 459, in the Mediterranean called the Flying Scorpions. This particular machine was operational with the RAAF during the Second World War, so it did see wartime service. There's a famous photo of it flying up near Milne Bay when part of number 6 squadron, but after the battle. Towards the end of the war, this machine went to serve with the survey flight, taking aerial photographs of Australia. Now, not a lot of people know that Australia was not mapped completely until up to the early 1960s. And it was the aircraft of the survey flight that did a lot of that work. When it was demobbed, taken out of the military, the machine went to East West Airlines at Tamworth, became its flagship, and then was swapped out to another company called Adastra Aerial Surveys. Continued taking photos of Australia for the mapping. Now at that time they swapped the engines. It's currently fitted with 2 Wright Cyclone engines, 1820s, to replace the original Pratt & Whitneys that it came out of the factory. Flown today by Guy Burke. He is an airline pilot, but he's also a special reserve officer with the RAAF. Now this aircraft forms part of what is called 100 Squadron. It was part of the collection of David Lowy. There were 13 aircraft in the collection that he handed over to the Royal Australian Air Force. 100 Squadron was formed in January 2021 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the formation of the Royal Australian Air Force. 100 Squadron actually was a bomber squadron during the war. And this aircraft is operated as part of that collection, flown today out from Temora. Now next weekend at Temora, if you're down that way after seeing the Hudson today, you might want to drop in because they have a showcase day next Saturday. They said this is a very rare machine. There are only 6 Hudsons left. And this is the only airworthy example. Number 1 Squadron RAAF was in Malaya when the Japanese invasion fleet landed just off Kota Baru, where they were based in the northern part of Malaya. And 1 Squadron was in action immediately, attacking and badly damaging the Wazasam Maru, 9,000-ton freighter. Now that aircraft, that squadron actually continued to operate and fought a rearguard action all the way back to Australia. Very rare machine, ladies and gentlemen. Just heading off display now and back to Williamtown, where they'll pick up their mechanic, so he doesn't have to walk back to Temora, and he'll be heading back there this afternoon. A very, very rare machine indeed, here at Warnervale for the Central Coast Airshow.
So you have that's the only one in the world, so you can come over with
Just a bit of a shout out to our sponsors, without whom we couldn't put this show on. Of course, our principal sponsor, Smile On Clinics, 8 locations throughout the Central Coast. General dentistry, dental veneers, dentistry implants, all sorts of things they can get up to. And it is gentle dentistry. Anybody who, like me, might have been a bit worried about going to see the dentist, go off and see them. Painless. And they can certainly do fantastic work for you. Also, I'd like to thank Aero Refuelers at Star FM. Of course, without the fuel, we wouldn't be flying here today. Bose Aviation for the supply of headsets and AV plans. The only company that can tell a pilot where to go. Icon, Tempest, Trojan Fiberglass and composite supplies, Luskin Tyre aircraft restoration, Aero Hunter adventure flights that we mentioned with the Yak 52. And also a special shout out to the Beachcomber Hotel, the Beachy, where we're staying. Absolutely magnificent resort. Everything that you could want in one place. Beautiful views out across the lake, fantastic bar, little micro brewery in there as well. Best beds I've ever slept in.
I was going to jump in on you with that one, and I'm not talking about your bed. I'm doing the one we slept in, and they were absolutely gorgeous.
Separate beds.
Separate. And the best alarm clocks in the country.
Absolutely.
But seriously, about the Beachcomber, I know there'll be many locals here, and I won't assume that you've all